It has come to my attention that as of this patch notes, which is I believe 5 hours ago, it's rough. It's rough. Hey guys, this is going to be my brutally honest review for Etheria restart. So we're gonna break this down step by step. This is not a progression guide, which you could see from the previous video. This is gonna just be the pros and cons about this game, which I have been religiously playing for the past 9 days. Alright? Bit of a context first. I am a day one. I don't want to say it anymore, but yes, I am going to be a day one free-to-play player in Etheria restart, not spend a single cent. I do max refresh every single day for the past 7 days. Day 8, I stopped max refreshing, and then from day 9 onwards, I'm just gonna be doing a single refresh. Right? We have 39 stamina potions, didn't use a single one because surely the 2x event is going to drop one fine day. Right? The number of pulls I have done as a free-to-play player, someone that's max refreshed every single day for 1 week straight, which is basically more than almost 7,000 gems. I have already done. Okay, I used to have a little bit more pulls, but one of my chat forced me to pull, so it is what it is. I have done more than 450 summons in Etheria restart as a complete free-to-play that's max refreshed every single day up until today. Right? I think this number is probably closer to the 520 to 530 mark, because something beyond 450 they actually do not record this. Right? Then eventually one day maybe we can get this. Maybe we can get the chosen one. Who knows? Right, so that is going to be how the current pools are. I'm just gonna give a couple of thoughts into going this game with the background knowledge of essentially a Epic 7 Honkai Star Rail gacha turn-based, one of the OG super old game from last time, Artery Gear, little bit of counter side. So yeah, let's go in with this brutally honest review in Etheria restart. First things first, I think the easiest thing to talk about is going to be in terms of units, right? In terms of units, I personally think that players, they have a lot of different options, because like I mentioned, pools are not really in scarcity. Even if you do max refresh, you should be able to unlock. Even if you don't have the SSRs, which honestly is a little bit of an issue I'm going to be talking about a little bit later, you have a lot of very good SR units. For example, your Kraken, your RC77, Mizuki Makoto just came out this patch, so not a lot of people used her before. Obo is quite nice. Fanga is the DOT guy, which somehow does more. I think he's like basically paired up with Cheryl Sanya. We do have ourselves the Kazuyo, which everybody has one copy for free. Sanya is absolutely insane. She's absolutely insane. A lot of SR units in this game. They are absolutely insane, right? So key example, I think D-Ting, as we all know by now, he is the current one of, if not the strongest single target burst DPS in the entire game, and he's SR, right? So in terms of units, I think players do have quite a lot of different options as long as you follow the standard procedure of team building, right? DPS, support, sustain. It is literally the try and test the rule for any turn-based game. You run a DPS, you run either a buffer or a debuffer. Sometimes you can run both because it's a 5-man team. You run one sustain. Sometimes you run 2 DPS, sometimes you run 3 supports. Doesn't really matter, but the formula is roughly the same, right? So a lot of flexibility, a lot of leeways to basically build a team that you like. And I think that at least in PvP and PvE content, it is not so much specifically tied to if you don't have this unit, then you literally cannot clear, right? Some units make the progression a lot more efficient. So for example, I think Doki Doki is a prime example. Inferno clears in Doki Doki, right? This is basically the hardest mode of this combat. Most of them, they are going to be done with either the red, but if you do not have the red, you have alternatives such as, for example, this person used a Rahu, this person used a Messiah, right? But for the most part, as long as you're matching the elements as well as playing to the game's mechanics, you do have alternative options into clearing the end game PvE, right? So this is sort of like the equivalent to like Doki Doki quite literally is like Honkai style pure fiction, right? Mod based content. So if you do have a green DPS against a blue unit that is AoE, for example, like the red, you are gonna have a easy time clearing, right? So I think in terms of variety, you can actually run a lot of different teams so long as you follow the formula, right? I'm not really gonna talk too much about the PvP aspects of this game because I do believe that nobody should really be concerning themselves that much about the PvP anyways, especially not in the first week, unless you're like a Giga Whale. You can go in there, have some fun, you know, play around with some different team comps, try out your favorite waifus, and just earn enough for the coins is gonna be more than sufficient, right? So specifically for RT as well as the arena, you do get these from playing. This is every single week 2,000. I think arena, I don't think there's any cap, but just about the gold, purple, lattice. This is honestly, you can just skip. I think these two are the only important ones because I mentioned pools are not in scarcity. You have a shit ton of pools. All the other things is not that crazy. So as long as you can clear out these two items, it's gonna be more than sufficient, right? And for the RTA shop, I personally think the ML summons, this is one of the more consistent ways of getting ML summons. And then you get a purple list, and then this is gonna be for your dupes, right? This game, I only got it just because I'm greedy and stupid. I want to rush through, but you honestly do not need to get this. But no regrets in getting whatsoever. So yeah, that's pretty much what I have in terms of your unit variety. I think it's quite nice. In terms of the game mode, right? And I do want to talk a little bit about this Ethernet rally. I think there was a bit of a drama, a bit of a war with regards to this being a pay-to-win event because they released Ethernet Rally and you can only unlock this game mode at level 40. Alright, you can only play this game mode in level 40 and you essentially need to build 3 different teams to tackle the content. So if any one of y'all have been playing Etheria Restart, following since CBT or whatever, you will know that this is pretty much their version of endgame content. Right? It is a refreshable endgame content. Unfortunately, the way they phrase the event, they literally type verbatim as event. So it led to a issue where people thought, where is the thingy over here? Because I'm pretty sure they have it up here, right? Yeah, so it led to people thinking that they are making this a pay to win event, which is quite literally gated by your levels. But this is straight up just either mistranslation or like they need a better team, because this is not really event. It's like a refreshable end game content. This is straight up just an end game content. And unfortunately, because of this kerfuffle, people are saying like, you know, this is pay to win, right? How can you expect this event releasing in such an early? Nobody will be able to play this, right? Unfortunately, it's just like a huge miscommunication from the devs in the player base, because like I mentioned, if you play it since ZBT, it has been here since forever, and it's gonna be a perma endgame mode. It's just that they say it's like an event, so people that if you don't hit level 40, you can't play this mode, and if you don't have 3 teams, you can't play this mode, right? So for this specific event, right, you can see this is going to be my current progression as a free to play. I basically clear out every single one of the nodes in the outside, left with the 3 collects point in the middle. So I am pretty much more or less almost done as a complete free to play for the most part, right? I would say the bosses for these 3, especially this boss, they are very difficult. So I'm not gonna be in a rush. I still have roughly 2 weeks left. Hopefully in 2 weeks we're gonna be able to get the team pass beyond, specifically for this guy, because this guy's mechanic is if you can't kill the jellyfish, he one-shots the entire team. That's it. It's literally just a damage check. If you can't do enough AoE damage, you lose. So we'll see how it goes. But so far, I would say that the events that this game has been offering, they have been quite okay. But I am a little bit, unfortunately, a little bit disappointed with the next wave of events that's coming out, which I believe they have also added a patch note somewhere here, right? So they have already released like a patch notes. Unfortunately, the events that we're gonna be getting here, it is literally the same photo. Yep, and I'm not too happy that we are gonna be doing the same photo for the most part this early into the game. I would have loved to see a little bit more variety, right? Candy Party is literally the crane thingy and all that kind of stuff. So maybe a little bit more in the department would be nice. But I think at the end of the day, if there's gonna be a lot of freebies, I'm not gonna complain. I don't really care about the events that much. I mean, it's fun to have like brand new events, but at the bottom line is basically the income and the quality of things that players are going to be getting, especially as a player base, less so about what type of events or like what medium is the developer going to be using to deliver set rewards into the player base, right? Of course, this also brings to another interesting thing, which is going to be the 2x drop, right? The 2x drop. So we already know that 2x drop, I don't think it's happening anymore because this is basically every single event from limit time, from event 1 all the way to event 5. So I don't think we are going to be getting 2x drop all the way up to the starting of July next month. And this is going to be a little bit unfortunate because next month, July, this is the anniversary for Zaza. I think we have a lot of stuff happening for HSR, so it might see a little bit of a backlog for the importance for Etheria restart. Me personally, with the lack of inclusion for 2x event, I might be in the minority, but I'm actually kind of glad that they didn't introduce 2x event this early. Or if they're gonna be making it such like a rare thing, like a once a month kind of thing, I'm actually kind of glad it didn't happen too early, because from the CBT, the 2x event is only applied to these three things: your threshold module, your investigation, as well as your GP outpost. We didn't have a 2x event for the green pursuit, so the most efficient place to use 2x event was on threshold, right? Especially if you could farm Inferno, 2x on this is absolutely the best bug, right? If you cannot farm Inferno, most of the time, I think players would go for the investigation, because in investigation, you can actually get yourselves summon tickets. You can get summon tickets, you can get gems, you can get like this kind of blueprints, and they can get doubled, right? So it's basically between either this or that. And because now that they delayed the 2x event, I technically will have a better window to build out my team and make it such that by the time the 2x event actually happens, I can dump all of my stamina into farming Inferno in the future. Whereas compared to if the 2x event were to happen like right now, I'm not gonna be able to spend my stamina efficiently, because the best I can do like on like auto farm, I'm pretty sure auto is probably like Nightmare 3 or Hell 1 on a consistent like 100%, 90% clear rate, right? So if I don't want to dump it on my Hell or Nightmare, that means I'm gonna be dumping it on probably the investigation, maybe the GP outpost, but neither of these two are going to be as efficient as compared to dumping it into Inferno. This is the best bang for buck in terms of the 2x event. Everybody just slammed every single one of the stamina potions, because this is like the absolute final endgame, right? Which is going to be the pretty much the final destination of where your PvE progression will end. The moment you can consistently clear 3 stars full auto Inferno, that is when your PvE journey in Etheria is going to more or less come to a close. Because at that point, you can kind of just run whatever you want. You use these units, you use your resources to farm your modules, and then you start building your PvP team. That's basically how this game works. So me personally, I'm kind of glad that they delayed the 2x event. It would be different from like a complete removal though. So at this point, nobody really knows if they are just gonna completely remove the 2x event, or if they're just gonna store it all the way until like probably a later date, or if they're gonna make this like a common like monthly thing, like once a month. Nobody knows at this point. I just hope that it is not a complete removal, because yeah, that would suck. So I'm still on a little bit of the copium, in which, you know, if they already implemented the 2x event before, maybe someday, not today, not tomorrow, but maybe someday they're gonna get this back, and these battery, they don't expire anyways, right? So I'm just holding for all these. Eventually, under the day they actually announce, then I would be happily using that 2x event, right? So that is pretty much what I think so far. This is literally gambling, which is just fantastic. Right, this is quite literally just gambling. Yeah, I bet on Union anyways, but yep, this is basically sports betting, and then this Infinite Tree is just basically a pure fiction-ish kind of things. But so far, the events are gonna be nothing too crazy, right? Because I would say that the main focus of Etheria Restart is definitely leaning towards the PvP aspect of this game. Like if you wanted a pure PvE game, I'm not even glazing the game, whatever, you know, check out the latest brand new, not really even brand new, the best turn-based gacha game in the entire world, Honkai Star Rail. This message was not sponsored, by the way, right? Yeah, but that is basically for like a more chill, easier to progress, PvE only focused turn-based. And on that note, I really do think that Etheria restarts difficulty is not to be underestimated. And this is coming from like the HS arc, especially if you came from like playing HSR. The progression in this game, it honestly feels extremely strict and daunting. Especially if you make like the wrong unit investments, if you build the wrong teams, if you like build like for example, right, in HSR, you could do something like a 3 DPS plus sustain, and you can probably still clear the bosses. You can probably still clear your caverns of corrosion. You can probably still clear your story boss, right? In this game, if you try to like fuck around and do some like random ass R team, you are just straight up not clearing, period. So the difficulty is definitely going to be a lot higher, and you do need to be a little bit more knowledgeable to get the most efficient use of your stamina as well as progression in Etheria Restart, right? And this sort of brings me to probably my biggest issue with this game, which is the progression pace of this game. It's honestly completely fine if not for one thing. And I think this thing is way too scarce, right? The perfect and evolution lattice. This is by far, me personally, the biggest issue I have with Etheria Restart. And I think it is honestly like a big fucking problem, because from the way I'm seeing it right now, you get like, what, this once a week? You probably get here once a week, and then this is going to be, what, once a month? So that's 5, and this is from you summon. And I'm pretty sure free to plays, they can't just keep summoning 3,000 every single day. So I'm just gonna use half, right? Let's just say half. So 5.5 over here. Union shop. Hopefully you can clear out this for a union. So this is gonna be 15, which is like, what, 1/5, slightly more than 1/5. Generally, unless you have like events, which is gonna be, you can see from the current event that we have going on right now, like the armpit event, right? The armpit event, it sells a couple of these, right? It sells. Oh wait, the armpit event don't even sell the gold lattice. Alright, it is what it is, right? Yeah, they have a couple of these kind of like evolution lattice here and there, but outside of like specific events, the income for the perfect lattice and evolution lattice, it literally just does not make any sense whatsoever, right? I'm not too sure if this has been the improved from CBT, or if people were okay with this, but this is not okay, because at this point, if you wanted a SSR, right, and a lot of these SSRs or even SRs, their full potential really only comes out if you were to max out one of their skills. This could be S3, S2, or S1, and by like the amount of diversity you have at the start of the launch of the game, which I believe we have currently, right now my roster is 1, 2, 3, 4, 9, 12, or I say 15, right? I have roughly 15 units that's more than level 1. Out of these 15 units, I could only lattice 2 SRs and 2 SSRs. So Dizzy and Grey, I could max out the S2 and S3, and then Rosa and Remoka, I could only max out 1 skill. Like literally 1. Level 5 S2, level 5 S3. That's it. I have no other lattice investment whatsoever, and right now, as of this moment, I currently have 3 lattice left. And this is at the start of the game. Right now, from what I'm seeing, if we are going to be releasing 2 SSRs, hopefully it's not going to be the mainstay, 2 SSRs in 1 week, that's 8 SSRs in a month. Not inclusive of light and dark units, when future light and dark unit comes out, right? So it is quite literally impossible for a player to keep up with the number of units that are coming out, right? If you're barely getting enough lattice to max 1 skill a month, you are getting what, 12 months, that is what, 12 skills, which is, I guess if you don't max S5 for all 3, maybe you just say S5 like 2, right? S2 or S3, S1 or S3, S1 or S2, let's just say 2, right? Bro, that is like 6 units a year outside of events. So if events can help us like increase the pace a little bit, let's just say 50%, that's 9 units in the entire year. I don't think this is G, because if the meta is constantly gonna revolve around the PvP, right? You can't really keep up if it keeps changing. And I'm at a point where I literally cannot use the units that I put. Like for example, I just put a Mio literally I think like half an hour ago. I don't even know when the hell she's gonna see the light of day, because I can't even level up the tracers. because I have almost nothing left, and I wanted to invest a little bit more into my other SSRs as well. So for example, if I wanted to build a, let's just say I wanted to build a Veronica, right? Let's say I want to build Veronica, or eventually because I use Heinrich, I want to build my Heinrich or like whatever. It's like if I play this game that long and we're gonna be getting like 8 units a month, I hope this double ban is just like a one-time thing or like a once every time thing. It is literally impossible for me to even be incentivized to pull for SSRs when I can't even use them. I can't even build them. And I have to be content with running one-on-one skills. So I personally feel the amount of lattice that we're getting is just way too low. It's just way too low. For the purple lattice, I think this is not that bad because in the early game, we have a lot more SRs and this will eventually mellow out, right? Because I don't think the game will release a lot of different SRs. So like right now, this is like the starting roster. So I think in the long term, this SR is sort of okay, right? In the start of the game, everybody wants to build everything. So we are going to be facing this bottleneck issue. I mean, it's not out of the ordinary, right? But from the current income of the perfect lattice, I think this is just way too low. So that is my current biggest gripe of the game. Like, I am literally getting punished by not having enough materials to level my tracers to the point where I don't even want to pull the units anymore. Like, I don't even want to pull Holden and Ho Yen because I know for a fact there's no way I can give them enough private ladders to level the S to the S5, to level 5, or S to the level 5 for Ho Yen, right? So this is my biggest issue with the game so far, right? So that is gonna be that for the lattice situation. And then another situation that I guess it has been going on is not so much about the game itself, but more so about like the overall communication. I think, I mean, I never really covered it, but you guys are probably not strangers to a lot of things that has been happening around each restart. There was the hotfix, there was the DOT, there was the action value thingy, and then there's this event, the event drama, which is not really like an event or whatever it's gonna be. And I feel like a lot of these things, they can be hugely, massively mitigated if there were like better communication channels. So for example, right, one of the biggest issues with the game was the whole Shadow Sanya thing, right? The one where you basically can't use Shadow Sanya in Aurora, and then people were mad that Terramaton, you have like the action video getting delayed and all kind of stuff. And then the patch came out as like there were bug fixes and everything, right? So people thought that Shadow Sanya could work because you use work in the CBT and now you can't work anymore. I think a lot of this, it really just stems from like bad communication. And I don't think it would have costed a big hoo-ha to get like one more free reset, right? Because if you want to be like actually, it was not really intended to happen anyways. So for the Shadow Sanya in Aurora and Marvel in Terramaton, I think these two, it was more so on the miscommunication side, right? Because these things, they were in place before the game was like actually in the fully fleshed out public state. So it's just that people assume that it was not supposed to happen, right? Terramaton as well as Aurora, right? These immunity buffs, they were in place, right? They were in place to basically prevent that miscommunication. But what is not miscommunication is it has come to my attention that as of this patch notes, which is I believe 12th of June, so yesterday, and these changes happened roughly 5 hours ago. There were actual changes that were made because they made it to the live server. I think that is the most important point. These made it to the actual final product of the game that was made available to the public. It is not to be confused with the previous case because that was CBT and not the final product. This is the final product, right? So two of the changes mainly is the Doki Doki attack buff, which is the revenge or rage buff. It used to stack up to 10. There was a strat in which they allowed your Saida, which can steal a buff from S1, to steal the absolutely massive 10 stack attack buff, which drastically increased her damage output. It is now unstealable. This used to be stealable 1 day ago. It is now not stealable anymore. And another example is gonna be this. And honestly, this is this one hurt me. This one hurt me quite bad. This is way more personal for me, right? Because at least for this one, it's not so, I never really used Saida before, but this one hurt me quite bad. So your streamer has actually been cooking up a secret team for PvP in the upcoming there's a little tournament thingy right this weekend or in like 3 days. Right, I've been cooking up a secret team revolving around the power of Soul Ward. So what Soul Ward does in this game essentially is that there was this unit called Veronica. She essentially gave you a team-wide immortal buff similar to Spirit Eye Celine, right? So my strategy initially, I tested a lot of games in normal RTA, and I played like a lot with the you can just take a look at my matches, right? I've just been playing these games off stream because I was cooking up this secret recipe, guys. I was cooking up this secret. I played a lot of games extensively 1 day ago, like exclusively making use of Veronica's immortal buff to be extended by Ling Luo's buff extension, giving me a 2-turn immunity, or rather 2-turn immortal, so the enemy basically just can't kill me, right? So I tested a lot off stream. Sometimes it worked, most of the time it doesn't, because my Veronica is fucking level 40, but I just wanted to see how these mechanics would look like. So I ran a lot of tests, right? A lot, even as far back as like, okay, maybe not 2 days ago, because I reset a marvel around there. Basically, I was there around here, right? More than 24 hours ago. I was testing out this specific interaction in which I made use of Veronica plus Ling Luo. Okay, the guy just rage quit. Veronica plus Ling Luo, something like this, right? Something like this. Basically, just try out Veronica, because Veronica was actually the first SSR I got in Etheria Restart. I think her kit looks extremely busted for PvP. It's just that right now, nobody really even talks about her, and I actually intentionally don't even want to talk about her that much, like on stream, because this was going to be my secret pick. I was gonna be the Veronica guy in the middle of nowhere. Oh my goodness, since when the MrPokke has a side of Veronica, right? And I've been cooking this up for like a very long in the shadows, right? Unfortunately, as of 5 hours ago, the cook would not cook anymore, because now Soul Ward, the duration of this effect can no longer be extended. This happened, I believe, less than 5 hours ago as of the time of this recording, based on the patch note that dropped. Even as recent as I believe, and I wasn't even aware, by the way. I wasn't even aware because I was still playing a couple of PvP games with Veronica where I wanted to try out with the Ling Luo combination. Yeah, like this one, right? I was trying to still do this as recent as well, and I was completely unaware that after my Ling Luo casted her S2, it actually didn't even buff my Veronica Soul Ward anymore. So this was how my team would go, right? I'll let them go first. I'll let them buff. Veronica cuts in because she has a built-in 35% action value advance. So this allowed me to push up all of my teams. So by right, this strategy right now, I have this Soul Ward, or Freya is a little bit tuned. I would then cast S2 to extend all my buffs. But it doesn't work anymore. And you can see the buff from Ling Luo went away. And I didn't even notice. I legit didn't even notice that the buff went away. Because by right, my Heinrich and everybody, they would have basically 2 turns of invincibility, right? 2 turns of Soul Ward. And yeah, this is not miscommunication. I think this is a direct nerf to a mechanic in which a unit used extensively within their kit. It is not pertaining to the unit itself, because nowhere does it say like we change Veronica's functions. It is more so with how Veronica's effects, right? The effects from her skill, how this worked. So it's not really nerfing Veronica, right? It's not really nerfing Zyda, because the characters themselves, they are fundamentally unchanged. But it's more so of like all these different buffs, as well as like for Zyda's case, what the enemy does, the interactions between these units have changed. To the point where now, I think maybe she might still be usable, but definitely a lot less flexible with the buff extension thing. I really cooked. I was like so proud that I thought of this in my like secret time. Like, oh my god, oh, I'm gonna fucking destroy the tournament, because nobody would have seen this coming. I didn't tell anyone. I was secretly in the kitchen already cooking about this. Nobody would see this coming. But unfortunately, this is no longer gonna be the case. To just cut the bullshit, I cut the yet, right? I think this is not too good, to say the least. I don't think this is nice. I think there should be some kind of ways in which players get a little bit of a W here. Because at least for me, I didn't really invest that much in Veronica, right? Like I basically just invested level 40. That's it. I didn't invest in the Lattice. I didn't invest in the Tracers. I didn't invest in the Shadow Prince. I didn't really invest anything, right? But imagine if I actually 6-star Veronica today, off stream, and I never read Sarah, right? Because the tournament is in, I think, 2 or 3 days. I'm just completely, I'm legitimately completely unaware that this even happened in the first place. Because when I read the patch notes, there was never a specific search. I even went to search for Veronica, right? I went to search for Veronica, and there was not a single mention of her name. So I thought that, hey, it's fine, right? It's fine. But it's more so like the actual buff itself got changed, which literally contradicts to the ability where her kit is going to be functioning. And yeah, if I actually went ahead and 6-starred her, and in the middle of a tournament, I was like, wait, where the fuck is my soul ward after I cast my S2? I think I'll be way more smash than this. Because for now, I only invested 40, right? But then on the other side, we have players that fully locked in. Maybe not for Veronica, maybe for Zaida, right? Because I'm pretty sure even in Doki Doki, there were a lot of Zaida clears from back in the days, right? If you take a look at Hell Time, I'm not sure if this is consistent of the current patch as well as the recent patch, but if you take a look at a couple of Hell Times, there were Zaida clears before, right? This is a 59-second Zaida clear. I'm not sure if this is like, it will change between versions, but now if you have invested into Zaida, because I know I see quite a decent number of Zaida clearing in Doki Doki, you can still clear, right? And the issue is not about whether or not this unit can clear, because if you want to make the argument where you can't clear, this is literally as recent as of today, 2 minutes 55 seconds, you can still clear. But it's more so like, you now need more effort into making her clear, because the way where the mechanics functioned is different now, right? An indirect removal to the kit, which you could no longer get the attack buff for Doki Doki. So maybe if you could clear with this team, maybe last time before this changes, maybe the Zaida only needed like, 500 less attack, right? Or 50% less crit damage, right? Basically, the barriers to entry for the clear in this specific content, it would have been lowered. And now that's no longer the case, right? So yeah, bluntly speaking, I think this is not a good look, man. I really think that that there needs to be some kind of a better way to go about this. Hopefully, we get something, right? And I'm saying this from like the perspective where, oh my god, I legitimately fucking love this game. I love this game so fucking much, and I think I influenced like a big portion of my community. Loves it. I think I've not had this much fun since compared to like my E7 honeymoon. I really genuinely love this game so much. I play this every single fucking day. After stream, I stay up all the way to 7 AM playing this game, and I just really hope for like the best for this game in the long term. Because right now it might be indirect nerfs. Right? I mean, they are all indirect nerfs in a sense for like Zaida and Veronica. And before this happened, I was under the impression that it was miscommunication, right? Because like for your Shadow Sanya, as well as for like your Teramaton, the action value, those were CBT. And then when the live version happened, it was already not supposed to work anyways, right? It is about delivering the final product. It's like before you send out your dish to the restaurant to your customers, right? You can do whatever you want with it. Right, you can cook, broil, steam, roast, right? Decorate. You add some parts, do whatever you want with dish. Nobody really matters, right? It doesn't really matter what you do, but once you have sent out the dish to the customer, you can't just be like, the chef runs out from the kitchen and like, yo, wait, hold up, let me take away this one piece of chicken. That doesn't work that way, right? You could have decided on the number of chicken you want to put in the plate before you send out the plate itself. So this is like the situation in which I'm envisioning right now. And if the chef is gonna come out and take a piece of my chicken, I want some goddamn chicken back. I think that is genuine. Okay, in my very weird analogy, that is the best way I can describe this. A restaurant gives you a X amount of chicken, right? You bought a chicken dish. You don't know how many chicken pieces there are. It comes out as 5 pieces of chicken. Maybe back in the kitchen, it used to be 6 pieces, and then people were like, oh my god, they removed 6 to 5. But that is miscommunication, because that was before they sent out the chicken dish to you, right? The final product has always been 5. Now is the equivalent where they give you 5 pieces of chicken and the chef comes out and takes 1 piece away, right? So I think that's genuinely like my best analogy. But yep, we'll see how this plays out going forward in the future. which is why this is a brutally honest review of Etheria Restart. Because if this happens now, what about like tomorrow, next week, next month? What if there will be like more indirect changes? So for example, right? For example, all right. Right now, D-Ting is one of the strongest DPS in the entire game, right? Fucking insane, follow-up attack, blah, 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 blah. What if in the future, right, his kit remains unchanged, right? His kit remains unchanged. But what if they introduce a mechanic where the boss is now invincible to vulnerable specifically? Probably not going to change everything. You're probably still going to be able to clear, but it's going to be more annoying. You're going to need a higher investment level to make this unit that used to clear last time going forward. Before CBT into the live game, I think it's okay. But now it's within live game, into the live game. Oh, the devs are listening? Okay, if they, they introduce a boss with a vulnerability immune, then yo, my bad guess, right? Okay, but yeah, this is just an example, right? And I think it always boils back down to like, if this is the case right now, what about tomorrow? And I think the players and the community, a lot of these concerns, they are not like unreasonable as well, right? They are not unreasonable. I feel like the CBT to live version game, I think it's just miscommunication. But now at this point of time, with the Zyda changes and the Veronica changes, it's rough. It's rough, right? So yeah, honestly, I have a very, very different direction going forward with my review of this game, because I always thought it was more so leaning towards the side of like communication, right? But now at this point, it's getting to like, no, there are actually gonna be changes made when the game is launched, and after the game is launched, there are even more changes. And like the way the changes were made, it is like, it's not even a direct change to the wording of a specific unit. It's like how the mechanics are interacted. So it is like a little bit more under the radar. Like, if you wanted to search my Veronica get nerfed and you search Veronica, you wouldn't see it. I guess if you search Zyda, there's like this Zyda thing, which is not even like a nerf, which is technically a buff, right? This is technically a buff, because you know, you get more crit up. But like yeah, I'm looking forward to how this is gonna unfold. At this point of time, I'm still having a lot of fun playing this game. All things considered, all things aside, all of these changes aside, right? Okay, first of all, rest in peace, my PvP, right? My Veronica strat is not going to work anymore. It's fine, I'll work something else. But all things aside, I'm still having a lot of fun in this game. It's just that these two things, which is the perfect lattice. At this point, the perfect lattice thing is like, it's like the pebble at this point. There is a mountain at this point, which is the changes made to units after the game is launched. That is the massive mountain that we kind of have to address, right? The perfect lattice economy at this point is just a kind of whatever, because yep, looking forward to Guild War, looking forward to more of these going forward. But anyways, at this point, it's gonna be a little bit more of a maintenance period, because I'm not gonna be match refreshing anyways. We're gonna be chilling, maybe one-time refresh. We got myself the setup for PvE, and eventually when level 45 rolls around with farm and everything, then let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Word of the day is gonna be D-Ting nerfs coming. Okay, I'm kidding, guys. D-Ting buffs coming. D-Ting buffs coming. Join Twitch, join YouTube, join Discord, join the join kick. All the best for your gacha pools. Wait, but before I go, I actually thought of like a way, guys. If we could make stealth nerfs, right? Stealth nerfs. Let's have some stealth buffs. Stealth buffs. That would be nice, right? Some stealth buffs. Because it's not like making PvE content more difficult, it's gonna change anything, right? If anything, if we make the PvE content more accessible to players, it means that you give them more opportunities to farm gear at a better pace, which means that people are more incentivized to actually play this game, because you now have access to better quality of units. Like, it feels like as playing with like fucking level 12 unique gears compared to, oh my god, I have slamming full in level 15 mythics, right? So let's have some stealth buffs.